Watch this. Parenting hack. I'm gonna clean the house. Do you want to go outside or help? And now I'm alone. I'm sitting out here just listening to the rain, and my son comes in and says, Mom told me I can have some cake if you help me cut it. I said, I will help you cut it if you do two things for me. One, please go upstairs next to my bed and get me my AirPods. And two, grow up to be a happy, healthy, well-adjusted adult. And then I laughed, because of course I'm joking, and I said, I'm kidding, bud. You only have to do one of those things. And he goes, I'll grow up to be a happy, healthy, well-adjusted adult. And that, my friends, is why I now have to go get my own AirPods. There was something I wanted my 11-year-olds to do, and they didn't feel like doing it, so I said, if you do it, you can be 12. I don't know why I said that. It just came out of my face, off the top of my head, and I don't know what I meant, but you know what? It worked. They jumped to it, and now they're 12? What does that even mean? Did I just shorten their lifespan by a year? Did they? This is like some Jacob and Esau soup situation over here. Did they just agree to lose a year of their life to follow through on something I asked them to do? They're 12 now. Shit. I didn't think this through. Your kids aren't lying. It's just that when a child says yes, the first time you ask if they brush their teeth, it literally means no. There are many cultures where the back and forth of polite speech involves making claims that are not literally true. And this is an instance of that. As I've rigorously studied my admittedly small sample of American English-speaking children, it's common to see what I'll call the yes is no phenomenon. It's a cultural difference between young and old. So a parent doesn't need to get mad at dishonesty. Your child isn't necessarily prevaricating. Word of the day alert, prevaricate is a fucking awesome word that means to lie, falsify, or otherwise evade the truth. Close parenthesis. No, a parent can simply interact with a child according to that child's sociolinguistic expectation. Speak the kid's language instead of making the kid speak yours. Watch this. Hey buddy, you brushed your teeth this morning?
Yeah.
All right, go do it then. You don't know what you're doing as a parent, and I can prove it. How's that for a rude start to the video? But seriously, no parents really know what they're doing, and the very thing some people use as evidence to disagree with this is the evidence that it's true. I got a comment recently that said something like, parents shouldn't just be winging it. There are like 5 million books out there on parenting. That's why I'm winging it. It's how I know everybody else is too. If there were a manual for parenting, there'd be only one. That's how manuals work. But there's not. There's millions. The Russian writer Anton Chekhov once said, when many remedies are suggested, you can be sure there's no cure. And it's true here too. When many books are written, you can be sure there is no manual. I wish I could take comfort knowing that I know what I'm doing. But instead, I'll take comfort that at least nobody else knows what they're doing either. And I got 5 million books backing me up on this. It's a lot of evidence. Yes, I genuinely do breathe easier taking this stupid train of thought. And I hope it helps you too. Hey, if you like talking about parenting with someone who admits he has no fucking clue, come along. I got more. It's 9:22 in the morning and my daughter says to me, can I go outside and play? And I say, of course you can. Well, wait. Have you had breakfast? And she says,
I ate some pickles.
That's not breakfast, love. But wait a second. Wait a second. Breakfast. Here we are. The first meal of the day. Meal. Okay. Meal. Okay. An act or the time of eating a portion of food to satisfy appetite. A portion of food to satisfy appetite. Well, there we have it. Pickles for breakfast. A 10-year-old walked into the kitchen, apropos of nothing, and proclaimed, bullshit. I said, what? And he goes, I didn't say bullshit, I said bullshit. That's when I knew I had him. He was gonna regret this. You think you removed T from the word bullshit, I said to him, but you didn't actually just remove it, you replaced it with a glottal stop. Do you know what a glottal stop is? I could see his eyes glazing over as he cast a sidelong glance at the door. A glottal stop is actually a consonant sound we have in our language that we don't have a letter for, but that we use all the time. The most common example is the middle of the word uh-oh. What's happening is that you're shutting your glottis, which is the opening of your vocal tract, and preventing airflow for a moment. And you did that when you changed the word bullshit to bullshit. Interesting, huh? He did not think it was interesting. At the same time, I wasn't done. Another example is the phrase right now. You think there's a T in it, but there's not. It's a glottal stop. Nobody says right now. You say right now. It's like the word right is being interrupted. Okay, at this point, he was like a caged animal listening to me. All right, buddy, you can go. He scampers away. And that, my friends, is how I keep my kids from swearing very much around me. A few months ago, I offhandedly told my kids about the sales manipulation tactic where you make a big ask knowing people will say no so that then when you ask for what you really want, they'll feel more compelled to say yes to you. Robert Cialdini gives a good example of this in his book, Influence. I'll butcher the details because I'm telling it from memory, but the point will be the same. He talks about a Boy Scout that came up to him and asked, if he would go to a fundraising dinner. Cialdini said no, because who wants to go to a fundraising dinner? So then the Boy Scout says, all right then, how about buying some of my candy bars for $1? And Cialdini says yes, because all of a sudden it seems more reasonable than it would have before. He doesn't even like candy bars, he says. So now he's ended up with candy he doesn't want and the sinking feeling in his gut of having gotten suckered. That Boy Scout pulled one over on him. It's a clever sales kid. Basically, it's the manipulator taking what they originally wanted and turning it into what feels like a compromise to the person being manipulated. Watch out for that shit. But here's the thing. I, of course, don't think constantly about how I taught my kids this, and every once in a while they'll ask me something like,
hey Dad, can we go to Paris this summer?
And I will, of course, answer with some version of, no. At which point they will inevitably say,
oh look, there's McDonald's, let's get some fries.
It takes my kids like an extra 5 minutes every day to get out of the house because they have to bring a water bottle with them. When I was a kid, there was water bottles like at the bench on the sidelines of sporting events, and that's it. Back in my day. But then I realized, also back in my day, after recess, this was the 80s and 90s, we would come in and stand in lines like 20 people deep at the water fountain. There was like 2 of them. So fucking thirsty, we thought we were gonna die, and yet still having no empathy for the people ahead of us. Here we are trying to get the smallest taste of like the most important resource we need as human beings, and we're rushing each other. So we'd all get like 3 or 4 sips and end up back in reading or social studies, just barely on the damp side of parched, still out of breath, feeling like we were gonna die, and trying to learn. All right, I've come around. Water bottles are cool.
The goal of parenting isn't to give your kids a good future. It's impossible anyway. The future is uncertain. So is it the best use of our parental energy, our love, to continue trying to achieve the impossible? Isn't there something instead where the success could happen right now instead of 30 years down the road, if at all? Imagine if there was a goal for parents that we could actually achieve every day and know it. Well, how about this? Don't worry about giving your kids a good future. Give them a good past. A huge part of who we feel we are as individuals is our memories, our history. And our kids are becoming themselves every day in this respect, and we're in charge of it. In her book, The Philosophical Baby, Alison Gopnik notes that we actually do get to determine one very important aspect of our children's adult lives: the childhood they bring into it. It's great to be smart, rich, mentally healthy, all things we tend to want for our children, but it's just as valuable, Gopnik points out, to have, quote, the ineradicable gift of a happy childhood. That's a trip to the park, hugs before bed, letting them choose the music in the car. It's doable. The present, we can almost control, or at least feel like it. And that feeling's all we're dealing with here, because we get to see our efforts work right now and not just hope that they will. Hey, if you like making life a little more manageable by just thinking about it different, come along. I got more. Isn't it fucking discouraging when you ask your kid, how was your day, and they just say, good? Here's an ultra easy fix without, and this is important, without having to change your personality or become more emotionally intelligent. This would be good, but it's hard for some of us, and we need tricks. Okay, listen. Ask ridiculously specific questions. Who sat 2 seats in front of you in math today? Name a girl who spoke in class, but it wasn't to ask a question. Who made you laugh today that you don't sit with at lunch? These are easy, they're interesting, and they lead to stories. That's what you want. You don't want some wordy explication about the quality of their day. You want the dirt, the scuttlebutt. Today's question was, what's something that made you say a bad word in your mind? They didn't like that one. Mom and Dad are the swearers around here. Anyway, if you're a loving parent but you're also kind of lazy, come along. Soon I'm going to talk about how awesome it is to leash your toddlers.